Firelord Ozai and the Flame Hero Endeavor. Two of the most renowned fire users in the spirit of animation in the manga, but in the fire fight for supremacy, who comes out on top? Yo everybody, North here back with another video. Today of course we're going to be touching up on Firelord Ozai from Avatar The Last Airbender and the Flame Hero Endeavor from My Hero Academia. I don't want to waste too much time here on the intro, but if you do like this video idea and you want to see more like it, go ahead and drop a like and a subscription to stay up to date with new content, and I'll be sure to try and stay consistent and keep dumping out as much content as possible. So before I jump right into the scaling, I do want to say that this video isn't going to be for the very hardcore power scalers. I do want this content to be very digestible, and I don't want to just talk about some brain rotting power scaling numbers, as this video is mostly for entertainment and isn't meant to be some sort of be-all answer, and it's certainly not a debate. Ozai's only real feats come from Sozin's Comet, which grants an insane amp to all firebending, but I'll still be using these feats as I want to take Ozai, of course, at his strongest point, and even without the amp of the Comet, Ozai should be superior to every other firebender, save for Iroh, whom a matchup with is contentious as Iroh is stated to be able to defeat him, but he himself even questions whether this is true. Firebenders as an all-encompassing group can generate and manipulate flames, including incoming firebent attacks. They can use their flames to fly, breathe fire, generate and redirect electricity or lightning, and a lot more. Ozai is an insanely powerful firebender, able to fire large plumes of fire that even dwarf large portions of a forest. He's even powerful enough to blast through a stone barrier created by base avatar Aang, who gets knocked seemingly unconscious as he's set flying. He's able to match Aang's firebending while they're both amped by the comet, putting him at avatar levels of firebending ability. He should also, as stated earlier, scale relative, if not stronger than Iroh, who during the comet is powerful enough to blow through the walls of Bang Sing Se with just the sheer force of his flames alone. Assuming this to be a wall composed of natural rock, as it likely was formed by earthbenders living within the Earth Kingdom, meaning the force needed to pull his feet off would put him confidently into the multi-city block to town levels of attack potency. As far as durability goes, he should be comparable to his own attack potency as he's able to survive his own lightning being redirected at him and get up with no issues whatsoever. Being that his lightning should more than likely be comparable to his fire, this of course should scale his durability to his AP. He's also able to take several hits from Avatar Aang's Air Blast and was able to survive getting ragdolled all about by Avatar State Aang, though it should be noted that obviously Aang is holding back, as Aang is more of a pacifist and would never at any point be bloodlusted. But that's not to downplay this feat. He's able to take all of this punishment all without much in the way of slowing down, though again, very evident that he was no match for Aang, but it is a good feat of endurance and his ability to continue fighting. Also, assuming firebenders can resist the heat of their own flames, he should more than likely be able to withstand great levels of heat. As far as speed goes, the Avatar verse is pretty concrete. Ozai of course scales to the likes of Zuko, Azula, and Iroh, the first and the last of the three being capable of perceiving, intercepting, and redirecting lightning. And if you're one of the types to be skeptical of lightning speed feats in fiction, Iroh is even able to redirect fully natural lightning from the sky, as he did develop the lightning redirection technique, basing it on the movements of other benders. This should put Ozai and others within the combat speed ranges of Mach 64 all the way to Mach 1300 or high hypersonic up to massively hypersonic plus if you do better with words and are one of the more hardcore power scalers. Now that we have the Firelord all covered, the most powerful firebender in the Last Airbender series, let's take a spin over to the fire hero of My Hero Academia, Enji Todoroki, or Endeavor. Endeavor, as far back as we know him, is the second ranked and later #1 ranked hero in Japan, only falling behind in power to the likes of All Might, as #1 hero Endeavor is the beacon of society, the symbol of peace, and the most powerful pro hero. With his quirk Hellfire, Endeavor can generate fire similar to firebenders of Avatar, though unlike Ozai, whose scaling mostly stems from statements and the few feats we see from an amped up form of his, Endeavor has a lot in the way of showings on screen. Endeavor is said to have superhuman senses and is shown to be a very capable and seasoned combatant. The hero with even more cases solved than All Might, Endeavor is able to fight the likes of Shigaraki in close quarter combat, whilst not only being physically slower than Shigaraki, but also with the threat that a single touch would turn him to dust. Endeavor is able to generate enough heat to melt solid steel and even slice through large buildings with the swing of his Hell Spider flames, with his ability to destroy high-rise buildings with just his fire being calculated to the city block to multi-city block levels of power. He's able to severely damage and burn the likes of Shigaraki and All For One, with the latter being reduced nearly to ash before his body was rewound. Mind you, these characters, specifically Shigaraki, are powerful enough to survive intercontinental cruise missiles calculated to generate country levels of energy, though it should be noted that Shigaraki did cheat a little bit and minimize the damage he'd take from this attack, but just seeing the sheer devastation this attack did cause, it still is impressive to survive this to any degree. Not to mention that Endeavor alongside his sons Toya and Shoto were responsible for the leading to the formation of an enormous inferno Nimbus cloud, and if my voice sounded a little bit different there, guess because I did have trouble pronouncing that word. But this cloud and subsequent storm was stated to be capable of affecting the mainland America from as far as Japan, creating numerous spikes in heat with their large AoE fire attacks. Convection currents were formed, which then combined with a tropical low pressure system, whatever that means, leading to the formation of a storm. Large cloud feats are common in fiction and tend to have power outputs equivalent to island and mountain levels of power, with some even reaching into the country and even continent tiers of strength. But this does not make either of these characters that strong, as the feat is far too vague. Not only is the storm not really shown on panel, but on top of that, you can't quantify the individual contribution of each member, with the members being Dabi, Shoto, and Endeavor. And no, you can't just count the moves we see on panel and do some weird division, as you can't quantify the exact heat of every attack, especially comparable to one another. You also can't quantify the ambient temperature, and you also can't account for the attacks we don't see on panel, as we know this is a drawn out fight again, and the series is constantly changing perspective. There's just way too many unknowns to even make a logical assumption to try to calculate this feat. On top of that, we know that their heat was only a part of the makeup of the storm at its infinite stages, so how could they ever possibly scale to a storm that was formed through a domino effect from their heat? This doesn't make any sense. Not like they're actually generating a storm. But I do think that scaling to the previously stated feat, Endeavor should comfortably be within the island level to country level of power, with his flames obviously being able to melt the likes of All For One and Shigaraki. But what about speed? Whereas Ozai is capable of fighting at speeds exceeding that of lightning, Endeavor should be similar in that regard, and it actually wouldn't even be close if you actually look at it. Characters as low ranking in the world as Hero Corps students have been shown to easily avoid bullets and nitroglycerin based explosions, placing them firmly into the hypersonic levels of speed, and Endeavor far exceeds them, able to again, as stated earlier, fight in close quarter combats with the like of Shigaraki. Endeavor, and by virtue of his flames, should be able to move at speeds relative to this buffed up villain, with Shigaraki being comparable to Deku, who could react to and avoid Lady Naga's bullets, who in a weakened state was capable of firing bullets across Japan, with this feat being calculated to have been traveling at speeds relativistic to that of light, which was just under 2% the speed of light specifically. Not to mention characters like Aoyama utilizing a laser whose speed has been contended for years, but this laser has been shown to react realistically with the world around it, as light would, being reflected and refracted upon mirrors and metallic surfaces, and not acting unlike any real laser. So it can very well be assumed to travel at light speeds, upscaling a large chunk of the verse to speeds relative to light, and even large percentages faster than light based on your interpretation and the calculations you employ, though I do think that end of the scaling is a bit generous and a little bit of wank for the My Hero verse. And I do think for this video I will be just sticking to the first half, scaling to Lady Naga's bullets, as it may not seem that impressive to you at a first glance, but 2% of the speed of light is very impressive speed and far exceeds the speed of lightning. So it wouldn't even be that relevant whether or not you decide to be more generous with the speed scaling. While Endeavor can't manipulate and form lightning like firebenders, he does have a great control of his flames. He's able to form his flames into constructs like arrows, tornadoes, and a fist. He can use his flames to blanket large portions of area with a coating of flames, condense his flames from his fingers into beams of fire like into spider webs, and much, much more. Now, can Ozai possibly control Endeavor's flames and bend them back or away? Possibly. I would definitely say yes. I surely don't see any reason why that wouldn't be the case, especially considering Endeavor hasn't shown to be able to control his flames after being fired or control pre-existing flames or the flames of others. The only issue here would be the great disparity in speed, as Endeavor's flames would move at speeds very slightly comparable to light, and Ozai would only ever have dealt with fire moving at above lightning speeds or even slower possibly, as lightning bending has been shown to be faster than fire bending. I don't see how he'd conceivably find himself even able to react to Endeavor's onslaught. There's also the issue of Endeavor and his sons having resistance to heat inherent to them granted by their quirk, meaning that Endeavor can easily withstand the heat of his own flames. So even if Ozai could redirect his flames, it wouldn't really do much to him. And as established, we do know Endeavor's flames to far exceed what we currently know of Ozai's, meaning that even if Ozai is capable of landing hits on Endeavor, it'd be little more than lukewarm to the flaming hero. Even if Ozai did have some sort of avatar level firebending, let's say on par with Avatar Roku's base, I still think he would be very hard pressed to truly find Endeavor's number. And on the contrary, while firebenders do seem to have some sort of slight fire resistance, it doesn't seem to be that amazing, and Endeavor's flames are capable of obviously burning up the likes of All For One and Shigaraki, who fall into the tiers of strength far exceeding anything Ozai has ever seen. I do think the answer to this fight would be pretty obvious, a battle between good and evil, with the hero coming out on top. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more videos just like it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and head down to the comment section to give me recommendations on what you would like to see me touch on next, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Or if you want to have a conversation, head down there and get at me. I'd love to hear what you think about this video. But without further ado, it's been North. I'm out. Peace.